Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. At this time here, I want to take a break in between making my shot videos, okay, because I just got done making number 7, shot number 7, shot number 8 and 9, okay, which is going to be posted today right along with this video here. But I just wanted to take this time out and talk a little bit about, the JFK assassination and what it means to me and, how we look at it today, okay. I know for the past 50 plus years, there's been a lot of stories talked about the JFK assassination. Everybody's pointing out, the gunman was in different locations. Even guys are claiming that they was actually assassinated, took the fatal headshot and everything else. And everybody's out saying, hey, buy my book or buy this book because, these are, like my book here, my book cover here. I said, buy this book or buy my book, because I got the evidence right here. But then when you ask them questions, you say, hey, can I see your evidence? They're going to say, no, you want to see my evidence, you buy my book. Okay, but as everybody knows, in my research, I have my book there. If you want to buy my book, you buy my book. Evidence of Conspiracy, you can buy it. Okay, I'll leave the link in the description down below. I'll always leave the site where you can order this book. It's either on paperback or Kindle. Okay, I don't push it as much as a lot of people wants me to, or I should, because the reason why is because it's not about making money, it's about the truth. Okay, you want the whole truth about JFK assassination, you'll find this one book. This is the only book that's ever going to be printed with photographic evidence, with evidence in it to prove what actually took place that day and prove there was a conspiracy. Because what people don't know is I take a lot of heat, and I mean a lot of heat, over the years. Okay, I've been next week it'll be 13 years ago that I started working on this case, and I took a lot of slack for it. I went through, basically, you might as well say I went through hell and back over this research, and sometimes I used to think to myself, I should just give up because no one's going to pay attention, no one's going to listen, you know, because there's too much false stories out there, too much false claims out there, okay? And people ask me questions like, well, what about this person said this, or this person said that, or that gunman's location here, the gunman's location there, okay? It's easy for people to make claims, especially when you sit there and you look at the JFK assassination or when it first occurred in 1963, okay, with what people was talking about, claiming, and then after the fact, they're claiming there was only 3 shots fired, Oswald was less a lone assassin and stuff like that. And then you have eyewitnesses there and other people there knowing that there was shots struck here, shots struck there. They heard shots come from this location, they heard shots come from that location. People hear more than just 2 shots. They heard 3 shots or 4 shots. People hearing firecrackers. All that did was leave doors open for a lot of false claims. Because basically, when I first started the JFK assassination research, okay, I had to learn myself, okay? Because the reason why I said I had to learn myself is because of when I first started taking on this case, okay, and as I was waiting for the films and images to come in, I was watching documentaries, I was reading other people's books and start buying other people's books and go to the library, get them, or order them offline, buy the book, start reading them, get copies of files of, documents and stuff like that, start reading over them and everything else. And it's like everything I was reading, everything I was seeing in documentaries, and then I even got the movie JFK and all that stuff, and I'm sitting there watching them, and it's like none of this makes sense, okay? To me, it's one big confusion. Okay, nothing's making sense. Nothing's fitting anything that's been said. Anything's being reported. Nothing's making sense. Nothing's matching. So, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze again. Like I said, I went through pure hell. And I hate using that word, but I did. I went through pure hell doing my research and trying to show my evidence so people know the truth, okay? Because like I had people call me con artist, or I'm trying to forged documents or alter images or whatever, you know. But like I tell people, look at the images I have posted. Then go on the net and look for them same images, or order the same images yourself, you know, from Library of Congress and all this stuff like that. And you're going to see there's no changes, there's no altering done. Okay, everything that's in these images has always been in these images. It's just people wants to make false stories and claim this and claim that, because that's all people. If you look at the JFK assassination now, and you surround yourself in the JFK assassinations, that's all you hear is falsified claims. You don't hear no facts. Okay, you don't hear no truth in the case, because there's too many people out there and there's too many stories going out there of, you know, what took occur that day. Okay, let me point out something here. Okay, I want to point this out here. As you see here, by photographic evidence, I point out 2 shots come from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Okay, and I also said that Oswald took these 2 shots. Whether people want to believe it or not, they want to call Oswald a patsy and everything else. Think about this. Even if Oswald didn't take no shots that day, remember, Oswald worked there that day. Oswald is the one who set up the sniper's nest. So any way you look at it, Oswald was a part of the assassination. He's not a patsy. Any way you look at it, he was in on the assassination, because if he wasn't, why did he set up the sniper's nest? Why did he order a decoy rifle? Why did he set the decoy rifle in a location for them to find it? Okay, his fingerprints was on the bullet case stuff. So see, no matter which way you look at it, Oswald was not innocent. Oswald's not a patsy. He was in on the assassination. But anyway, as I point out here, we have 2 shots coming in from the right, exiting out to the left by photographic evidence. That's shots number 1 and 5. Okay, I show this. I show the photographic evidence of these shots occurred. I show images of where these shots made contact with. Okay, and I show evidence and I show evidence. That's all I'm doing. I'm showing evidence. And I'm telling you what we see in the films and images, and I'm pointing this out. Okay, then we go into the next shots. Okay, we got the 2nd floor of the county records building. I show you that he's took 4 shots a day, shot number 2, 3, 8, and 13. I show you photographic evidence of where these shots occurred and where these shots made contact with. Okay, I'm showing you images of him with the rifle in his hand. I'm showing you images of him firing from that window and everything else. I'm showing you location. I'm showing you that gunman. I'm showing you firing now from them locations. Then we have the 2 gunmen inside the shelter, which I show you they only took 1 shot each. The fatal headshot to JFK, which we see these in the films and images. And I also show you the shot to Governor Connally as he was turned to his left. The shots that I find matches the testimonies that they're telling us. And we see the gunmen with rifles in their hands, firing rifles in their, firing the rifles, aiming the rifles from this location. And we know 2 of the gunmen was actually tramps. The 2 of the tramps they picked up that day. Then we have shots, distraction shots only. Right here, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. Excuse me, it should be 8 and 9 here. Sorry, it's supposed to be 8, 9, 11, 12, and 7 shots here. Okay. I show you the photographic evidence of this gunman taking all 5 of these shots and the locations, and more images to back up these locations of where these bullets came to rest and everything else. I show this in photographic evidence. Now, the reason why I show you this is because I want to point this out. As I point out, there was 13 shots fired that day. All shots can be accounted for. We got 4 shots at JFK, 2 shots at Governor Connally, then we have 7 distraction shots. Okay, these are accounted for. The locations are accounted for. 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, shelter number 3, 2nd floor of the rooftop. 2nd floor of the county records building, rooftop of the county records building. We know where all these shots occurred at. We know where all these shots made contact with, and we know the location of the gunman by photographic evidence. Now, let's look at other people's stories now. Okay, we're going to look at other people's stories. As you see in this image here, here's where all 6 shots occur in this location here. We have 1 shot here, 1 shot here, 2 shots here, 2 shots here, 1 shot here. Okay, this is the total of all 13 shots. This location. We have 2 gunmen in this location. 2 shots are accounted for from here. We have 2 shots accounted for right here from this gunman on a 6th floor Texas School Book Depository. Then we have 4 shots from the second floor of the county records building, and we have 5 shots from the rooftop of the county records building, which is a total of 2, 6, 11, 12, 13 shots total. 13 shots fired, 13 shots accounted for, 4 locations where these shots came from. All accounted for by photographic evidence and by testimonies as well. Now we have a man called James Files. James Files said he was behind a picket fence using a firebolt rifle, or a firebolt, took that fatal headshot to JFK, and plus there was a couple other people over in the Daltex building. Location unknown, just a couple people in the Daltex building, and he took that shot from the picket fence with the firebolt. Now, photographic evidence shows us something different, don't it? James Files claims he's over here somewhere behind a picket fence. All right, but by photographic evidence, we can see that fatal headshot coming from shelter number 3 from the window. We can see that fatal headshot. We can see that. We see the gunman as well. We see the fatal headshot. But James Files said he was over here, and he took that fatal headshot with a firebolt. No reason why he used a firebolt. That's because JFK's head exploded the way we see. Okay, but he said he was over in this location. Why would you have a gunman in this location behind a picket fence when you already got 2 gunmen there? Okay, we got to think about assassins now. Assassins, they're not going to have like 30 or 40 different assassins in one location, okay? Because then there's going to be an all-out war. I mean, there's going to be guns firing all over the place, and there's going to be a lot more people killed. But he didn't talk about the 2 gunmen in shelter number 3. This is why I don't believe in the stories that's told, okay? This is why I had to learn myself by the reactions and how people react in films and images that I've seen, because what I was told in books, what I was told in documentaries, what I was told in movies was nothing but a lie, because nothing was, nothing was fitting, okay? Their stories never fit. You see James Files talking about, well, I was over here behind a picket fence, I took the fatal headshot to JFK, and I was using a firebolt. One, he didn't mention nothing about the 2 gunmen. It was in shelter number 3 in the story. When we see for a fact it was 2 gunmen inside shelter number 3, because we can see them with rifles in their hands, holding rifles, and also the fatal headshot did not come from the picket fence area. It came from shelter number 3, right here, 3rd window from the bottom up. We see this by the films and images, but everybody wants to believe James Files. Now let's look at this right here. Let's look at this image right here. As I said, James Files places himself right here behind a picket fence. He took that fatal headshot to JFK. But he ain't talked about Oswald here. Oswald was just a patsy. He didn't have nothing to do with it. Oswald did have something to do with it. He still set up the snipers, and he set up the fake decoy rifle stuff. So see, his story's not matching anything we see that day, or even watch that day. Okay, his story's not lining up, because now we only have 2 gunmen no more than 15 feet away from, or 14 feet away from, 2 gunmen with rifles here. He's claiming he's right here. If you watch my cursor, then right here, and then he said 2 gunmen or whatever in Daltex building. Don't know the location, just said, there was a Daltex building. Okay. But he didn't talk about the gunmen in the rooftop of the county records building. He didn't talk about the gunmen on the 2nd floor of the county records building. Like I said, he didn't talk about the 2 gunmen was inside of shelter number 3. He didn't even talk about none of these guys taking shots. Okay, because he's trying to keep his story stuck into that 3-shot deal, same as the government and everybody else. They're talking about the 3 shots only taken that day, because that's what people want to do. They want to just talk about that fatal headshot. But you notice that James Files didn't say, hey, there was a bullet that struck the steps right there, which was only probably about 14, 15 feet away from him. A bullet struck them steps there. Bullet struck that concrete, that manhole cover right there, or in that grass area there, or a bullet striking James Tagg area. Who shot James Tagg over where James Tagg was standing at? Who shot that curb? Okay. Who shot Governor Connolly in the back? Okay. James Files claimed he only took the fatal headshot to JFK with his firebolt from that location. But we know for a fact it came from shelter number 3. So see, this is why I look at, when I start doing my research on JFK assassination, I cannot believe any of the stories they're told. I cannot believe in the research that's been done on it, because no one, that's all they've done was research, but they didn't do an investigation. When I do my research, I did my research and I did an investigation, because that's what researchers do. Because you can do research all you want, you ain't gonna find no answers unless you do an investigation. You have to put things back in its place. You have to place, in order. We got to find out where the gunman was locations. Okay, we got to look outside the box. We can't just look at one shot. Was there any other shots fired that day? Okay, we know the magic bullet theory is not going to hold up. So, okay, we got to look at 2 different shots there, right along with the fatal headshot. So that's 3 shots. And then we got to talk about that curve shot struck where James Taggart was. That's 4 shots. But none of this crossed anybody's mind when they did research. They're still looking at that same thing of, well, we got to prove that fatal headshot came from a gunman behind a picket fence area, or from the south side over here, or we got to prove that shot came from the overpass, or underneath the overpass. If we could prove that shot happened, that fatal headshot happened from these locations here, then we could prove there's a conspiracy. And that's why even these people that says there was no conspiracy, Oswald acted alone and stuff like that, okay, I'm in between them. Okay, there's conspiracies people over here, and there's non-conspiracy people over here. People over here says Oswald did it alone. People over here says no, there was a conspiracy. I'm right in the middle of it, because I'll show some that there was a conspiracy, there was more coming. Okay, but they won't have nothing to do with me on the conspiracy side. Why? Because I placed Oswald in it, and I pushed James Files aside, saying, hey, no, his story is not true. So they're going to push my research aside because of that. Now we have the people over here that believes there was no conspiracy, Oswald did it alone. Now they're against me as well, because I showed there was a conspiracy. So see, I'm right in the middle. My research, if you study my research and you watch my videos and stuff, I'm always in the middle. I'm the middleman. You have people on this side, you have people on this side, and I'm in the center by myself. Okay, I'm in the center by myself. You have researchers on this side saying Oswald acted alone. There was only 3 shots fired that day. And you have researchers on this side that says, no, there was more than Oswald was innocent, and the fatal headshot came from this location, that location, because there had been 2 gunmen there. Okay, but they're not claiming where these other shots came from. They're not claiming from where the magic bullet. See, this what gets me is this. They're saying Oswald is a patsy. Okay, because the fatal headshot had to come from this location, that location. But what about the first shot? Okay, what about the first shot? The so-called magic bullet that struck JFK in the back, exited his throat, and struck Governor Connally. What about the curve shot? They're not eliminating Oswald from that. They're just eliminating Oswald from the fatal headshot. They're going to sit there and say they're going to try to find a headshot gunman behind on the south side here, or the overpass, or behind a picket fence. But there's no evidence to prove there was. Okay, they said, well, there's eyewitness accounts. No, even no eyewitnesses accounts claiming there's eyewitnesses and cops and stuff said they didn't hear no shots up here. Over here, no one heard no shots. Over here, no one heard no shots. Okay, anybody can stand up. Somebody could sit there today, was born in 1970, say, hey, I was born in 1950, and I seen what happened. There was a gunman right here. I seen him. He was sitting in a truck. Okay, and he had his overalls on, and he took out a shotgun and took an aim, But it's a false story, okay? Anybody can make up a false story. That's why I never based anything on a story or in books or documentaries, because they're not going to show reality. They're not going to show the facts. They're not going to show their evidence of why they say this or why they say that. Read their books is all they're going to point out. When you do a TV documentary, when you watch them, there's a lot of cutting, there's a lot of editing, because if there's no drama in it, and if there ain't nothing that's going to please people and keep viewers viewing that screen, they're going to cut it out. They always do. Okay, if there ain't no drama in it or anything else, they're going to cut it out, because they don't want that truth to get out as well. That's why people do in documentaries as well. That's why I've been pushing the issue of I want to make my own documentary, so I don't have to worry about editing, cutting out. Just like when I make my own books, I don't have to worry about some editor coming in there, taking something out, and false stories or false information into it, because I will not allow that. But when I just did my research on JFK assassination, okay, like I said, I went through pure hell in it, okay, because I was getting it from every side on all I'm doing. is showing photographic evidence of what I found from my research. And as you see, my research fits eyewitness accounts, stories that was told that day, and everything else. But when we go to other people's research, or we watch documentaries, or we're watching movie stuff, nothing fits. It all don't sound right. It don't seem like there's nothing matching there. Okay, there was more shots fired that day. This is a fact. We know this by photographic evidence. There was 13 shots fired, but out of 13 shots, they was only talking about one shot for 50 plus years. All they talked about was one shot, the fatal headshot JFK. They're not worried, concerned about, hey, Officer Tippit was killed. Okay. We have James Tagg was standing down there, a bystander. He was hit by a piece of curb where a bullet struck. So we're going to figure that one out? No, we ain't worried about that. That's what they're saying. We're not worried about the bullet that struck the curb to hit James Tagg. They're not worried about that because they're not even going to talk about it. They'll talk about it just for a split second, but it's always about that fatal headshot. Governor Connolly, they don't care if he was fighting for his life. They're not even going to really talk about his shots to him anyway because they ain't worried about that. They're worried about that fatal headshot because they want to prove that fatal headshot came from the picket fence area or from the south side or a frontal shot or from the overpass or underneath the overpass. That's what they want to prove, but they can't prove it. Okay, they can look for 1,000 years from now, but they're never going to find no evidence to prove there was a frontal headshot or shots came from the south side, or overpass, or behind that picket fence. They're not going to find it. I don't care what people says in their testimonies, because their testimonies has changed. Everybody's changed. Mr. Spruder, his testimony was always, there was an assassin behind me, assassin behind me. Warren Commission report comes out. Then he changes the story. Okay, the shot came from the 6th floor of Texas School Book Depository. Oswald took him. But before that, Warren Commission report come out, it's always the assassin was behind me. People change their story. Okay, that's what they do. But I just want to make this video here to give a little break in between the shots that I show. Okay, and if you watch my videos, I already got shots number 1 all the way through 9 covered. Okay, and I'm showing photographic evidence, but none of these people talk about it in their stories. No other researcher talks about these shots in their research. Makes you think and sit back and think about why. James Files, in his story, he claims he was behind a picket fence area right here. Okay, I'll point this one up here. He claimed he was over this location here, but no shots were fired from here. No shots were fired from the Dow Tex building. But why didn't he mention about the 2 gunmen was just 14 feet away from him or 15 feet away from him? Why didn't he mention a shot that struck the steps where he was 15 feet away from as well? Why didn't he talk about Oswald? Well, Oswald was innocent to a point where he didn't take no shots, but actually he was part of assassination because he set up the sniper's nest and stuff. So see, he didn't say none of this stuff. Okay, with him not saying none of this stuff, from what we see, shows his story was false from the word go. Okay, there was no firebolt used in the assassination of JFK. Point blank, period. James Files' story is false. Same as all the other stories that's told about JFK assassination is false because there's no evidence to back it up. The evidence that I show is I'm showing you, I'm only telling you what we see. We can see the gunmen in shelter number 3. We can see them take their shots. We know the shots they took because we can see this by photographic evidence. Same as all the other shots are fired in the locations of the gunmen because we can see them with rifles in these locations. We can see them firing rifles from these locations. We can see them aiming rifles from these locations. And we can see where all these shots made contact with. 13 shots fired. You're not going to find that in James Files' story or any other researcher's story. Years ago, if you follow a researcher, this is what gets me, and I always point this out, you follow researchers in the past, you'll see they always say 4 shots, maybe 5 shots the most. That's all they talk about. But then again, like I said, they only talk about the fatal headshot. But nowadays, after my research came out, my evidence came out and stuff, now we have the researchers changing their mind. Now there's 12 to 14 shots fired or 12 to 16 shots fired. Okay, they're changing their stories around now. Why are they changing their stories? Because they see my research. They don't want nobody to know nothing about research. That's why none of them talks about me. None of them wants to point nothing out about me saying, well, you know, Mr. Blevins, now if you go to my research, I'll point something out about this researcher or that researcher because it's just fair. It's right. You know, you got to give people credit for things they've done. Okay, just like this map right here, I always tell people, okay, and I show you right here where you can go to the site. I asked the gentleman and myself, you know, when we was on Facebook, go to the site right here, Don, right here, which I'll point up right here. Okay, go to the site right here. This is where you're going to find this map here. Because the reason why I use this, and I told him the reason why I use this map here, okay, because this is the only map right here. There's his address, his email address, that's his name. The only reason why I use this map here, because this is one only accurate map I've ever found on a JFK assassination. He's accurate about everything he's done on here. The measurements are done right and everything else. Everything is scaled just right. That's the reason why I use this, because this is one of the best maps out there when it comes to JFK assassination. Okay, I give people credit because they deserve that credit, because that's their work, that's their hard work. Okay, but I just want to make this a little bit here, this video here, just let people know the reason why, you know, I don't understand. And anybody that wants to do JFK assassination research, when I'm going to tell you, I'll give you some advice right now, that you're going to be put through a lot, okay, when you do research on this case, because I've been through a lot over this case because the evidence I found. They're upset with me because the evidence I found. They don't like the research I've done because I'm showing photographic evidence and I point things out. Just like I said, they're not going to tell you that Oswald, I forgot the guy's name, he asked for a Russian lawyer. Okay, I got it in my book. He asked for a Russian lawyer. Okay, they're not going to tell you he asked for a lawyer. He's sitting there in his interview says, I wasn't appointed no lawyer, no one's come to my defense or none of this other stuff. They'll point that out, but they're not going to point out the fact that he actually asked for a lawyer, but the lawyer couldn't be there until, I guess, that following Monday when the lawyer said he was going to meet with them. Okay, they're not going to point out the fact that the files that was, you know, they put the evidence files away, whether it's JFK's limo or whatever, was done by Robert Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy. Okay, they signed the documents, they signed the papers and report stuff to have everything hidden for 75 years. Again, research is not going to tell you this because they tell you this stuff. Then that's going to throw a lot of their case away because everything that they're basing their evidence on is a story. Okay, if I sit there and said, hey, the government's doing a cover up, okay, they're not going to show the evidence because the government's behind it, because the government's showing, you know, they have the evidence put away for 75 years. Okay, I'll tell you that story, but I'm going to leave out the part, well, it was actually Robert Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy is the one who signed the documents to say they want this stuff hidden for 75 years, because if I'd have told you that, then it's not the government no more, it's Jackie Kennedy and Robert Kennedy's the ones doing the cover up now. Okay, so that's going to throw my story away. So I'm not going to tell you that, because if I tell you that, that's going to throw my story away, which is stupid. Okay, when it's best just to tell somebody up front, hey, the documents and stuff are put away for 75 years because Robert has been requested by Robert Kennedy and Jackie Kennedy. Fine, then there you go. But there's no drama to that. There's no, you know, impact out of that. So we're going to leave that information out, is what they do. They'll leave that information out and they'll say, well, the government's covering it up. Okay, that's what they do, just like James Files. James Files figures one day I'm going to be out of jail. I'm going to need some money. So how can I get money? I'm going to get some fame. I'm going to say I shot JFK. Okay, if there was evidence of him shooting JFK, why ain't charges been filed against him? Okay, why hasn't he mentioned any about these other gunmen was there that day? Why hasn't he mentioned about any of these extra shots were taken that day? Okay, why has he mentioned that Oswald was just a patsy? He had nothing to do with it. Okay, which he did. As I point out, no matter if he took shots that day or not, he still had the decoy rifle he set, and he still set up Cypress nest. So he was a part of it, no matter which way you look at it. Okay, none of this is in their story. Two gunmen was only 15 feet away from me. They was inside the shelter. If he had said something like that, I would say, okay, yeah, his story is true. Why? Because we can see this. Now we can see those two gunmen in the location that he claimed, but he didn't. Okay, if he claimed those gunmen in the records building on a second floor of the county records building, rooftop county's records building. Okay, I can say, okay, well, he might have a little truth there. He might have been there. Okay, but he didn't mention nothing about them. This is why now, maybe after he sees this video, if he watches my videos, maybe if he sees this video and hears this information, he might say, oh yeah, he'll probably come out and say, yeah, I forgot there was a couple gum in here. There's a couple gum in there. If he did, that means he's watching my videos. Okay, now his story's going to change. So I'm just putting this stuff out there, you know, whether people get pissed off at me or not. Okay, because I've been through a lot. I had people call me crazy, nuts, you know, wacko, and everything else, you know. And I was just telling people, hey, if you're going to get into JFK assassination research, one thing I can tell you is be prepared to go through a lot of misery, because people, I've went through this stuff for going on 13 years now. Okay, I've been pushing this research. I spent a lot of time on this research, spent a lot of money on this research. Okay, I put the evidence out there for everyone to see. My videos are here. They're always going to be here. My book is out there. Okay, you can order it on paperback Kindle or whatever, you know, but it's always going to be there. Okay, at least I know the truth. Okay, whether people want to believe me or not, that's their opinion, because they've been brainwashed all these years of what people says. Because I even got people says, oh, I believe you on this part, but I don't believe you on that part. That's fine today. And like I said, that's somebody's opinion. Okay, but to me, show me the evidence. You have to show me. If I don't see that evidence, if you're not going to show me that evidence, then that story is just false. You know, and if your story does not fit in what I see or what actually is in the reports or whatever, and I mean full reports, not just parts, not just certain phrases out there, you know, I mean a full, if it matches the whole thing, then I'll give it a listen. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget the subscribe button. Share this video with others so they may know this information. Have a pleasant day.